right, good evening, everybody. David Paul with you in the KHOU 11 Weather Center. And actually, it's not just me. Tim Pandajis is also here. And if you want to join us on Facebook, you're watching us on Facebook right now, you want to type your question in as to tomorrow's storm threat. Please feel free, type in any questions you've got. Tim's right here. He'll be hollering them out to me. And we'll go through together what's going to be a rainy and at times stormy Monday. I think the severe threats are rather low. However, heavy rain and street flooding will be the greatest threat. So this is going to impact your Monday. When is this likely to happen, this heavy rain? Most likely the heaviest stuff will come in Monday afternoon and early evening, but the rain may begin even as we head toward lunchtime, at least light rain. So heavy rain and thunderstorms. I think we'll have a lot of cloud to cloud lightning and thunder. This is an upper level system, so I think it will be high base thunderstorms, which can lead to a lot of small hail. Now, I've seen this play out many times before. These wintertime upper level lows come in. They have a low freezing level, and that can freeze a lot of the raindrops. And so quite often we'll get lots of pea-sized hail in the heavier downpours with a system like this. So small hail is a threat. And then street flooding, I think, is by far the greatest threat, as we could see several inches of rain as we go through the early, mid, and late afternoon, even into the evening. The rain may continue. So what does this look like? Here's the satellite and radar composite, and you can see the counterclockwise rotation. This is where our upper level low is situated, over to Mexico. And in the higher elevations, it's producing light to moderate snow. So the ski resorts there at Ruidoso and Taos are getting snowed on this evening. But this is our brewing storm that's going to follow right into Texas and head right toward Houston and the upper Texas coast as we head into tomorrow afternoon. This is all in the upper levels. There's no cold front with this. There's no surface cold front. But what we do have at 34,000 feet is very interesting. First of all, you can see the big swirl here. On the leeward side of that trough, you get lift. But also look at what's happening here. See these streamlines? See how they spread out right over east and southeast Texas? So you can just take your fingers and spread them out. And what do you get in between your fingers? You get areas of empty space. So empty space is the definition of a vacuum. When you get a vacuum at 34,000 feet, way up there at the top of the atmosphere, it helps to suck the air up. It helps the air to rise. It encourages it to rise. And as that rising motion develops through those storms and going all the way up to the top of the atmosphere, that can allow it to wring out all of the available moisture and energy through the vertical column of atmosphere. So when we see a pattern like that of upper level divergence coming in close to the Houston area, that always perks our ears up, and we've got to look at least a severe weather threat. Now in this case, it's wintertime. There's not a whole lot of heat energy to work with. So what we're really looking at here is a heavy rain threat, and I think that small hail threat as well. But that's a vigorous upper level low coming in. It's interesting to see that. Now, what does this mean as far as rain? Here's a timeline for Monday. So we begin the morning at 8:30 a.m. and I think most of us are dry, with the rain developing between Austin and Brenham and just west of Columbus and College Station. That's at 8:30 in the morning. As we head toward lunchtime, toward noon 30, we begin to see light rain develop across the heart of the Houston area, with the heaviest rain still out here, College Station, west of Brenham, west of Columbus. So between 8:30 and noon, heavy rain may just sit out here. Do you have travel plans out west, out I-10, out 290? There may be some high water spots out there, even going into lunchtime. Southwest Freeway, El Campo to Victoria, same story. I think you are most likely to see the heaviest rain and road conditions deteriorate first out to the west side. Going into 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, that's when the heavier rain gets closer to the Houston area. Now this particular high resolution computer model has the heaviest rain Sealy to Bay City to Freeport. But again, this is a computer model. So this blob of heavy rain could just as easily set up here over Houston, Harris County, Conroe Woodlands. So it's not set in stone that that's where the heaviest rain is going to occur. And then we go into 9 o'clock and the heavy rain comes right across the heart of the Houston area to Galveston Bay, Baytown, Anahuac, Malt Bellevue, Galveston, Crystal Beach, Winnie, Liberty. That's when you may see your heaviest storms and street flooding. That's going into 9 p.m. So this is an all-day, long duration event, but the heaviest rain after lunch through into about 9, 10 o'clock. After that, most of it should try to head east toward the Louisiana border, and it comes to an end by Tuesday morning. And we're still warm on Tuesday morning. This is also going to lead to a big cool down with an Arctic front coming in toward the end of the week. How much rain are we going to get? computers are suggesting we might see 4 to 6 inches in some spots. I don't think, and I'm hoping we don't see it that widespread. That much widespread, 4 to 6 inches, could cause at least some minor flooding concerns in our western counties, Austin, Colorado County, out to Grimes, and folks into Waller County and Washington County. But it's certainly possible. You saw how that rain's going to sit out there for several hours. So travel to the west tomorrow, especially morning through midday, may be impacted by high water spots. And even in the immediate Houston area, 1 to 2, 2 to 4 inches, that's not going to cause any significant flash flooding problems with bayous or homes. That's not expected. But street flooding and impacts to your driving around, especially the commute between lunchtime and into the evening commute tomorrow, may be significantly impacted by pockets of heavy rain and that nuisance high water spots on the roads, and you know how that can get in Houston traffic. So that's storm number 1, and there it is right there. Here we are right now. That's what's coming in tomorrow.
Before we get to the next one,
and Tim is sitting right here, and we've got questions. Yes, chime in, Tim.
So they talked about the flooding threat, but what about a severe thunderstorm threat?
That's tomorrow? A great question. So we're in wintertime, and there is no surface cold front with this system. It's all in the upper levels. What we really need to get severe thunderstorms that would produce winds above 57, 58 miles an hour, which would produce 3/4 size hail or bigger, which could produce tornadoes, is a combination of more ingredients, including really a surface cold front to be a lifting mechanism to really focus those storms, and we don't have that. So it does not appear that this is a severe thunderstorm threat. In other words, I'm not expecting tornadic activity. I'm not expecting dangerous straight line winds. But what we are expecting is that heavy rain threat, and I think small hail, this pea-sized hail, more a factor of the low freezing level than violent up and down drafts in the storm that you would get if you were going to have a widespread severe weather outbreak. Great question. Not expecting severe, just a lot of rain overall.
And what areas do you think are most likely to see street flooding?
That's a great question. So as we look at the rainfall total forecast, it is suggesting that the further west you get, the heavier the rain's going to get. So, here's I-45, and then continuing straight south, that's 288. Here's I-45, the Gulf Freeway. So I-45, 288 west, along and west of that, has the best chance for the heaviest rain. That's not to say that we couldn't see pockets of heavy rain over to Humble, Kingwood, Pasadena, down to Pearland, over to Baytown, but the most likely heaviest rain is out west. So through the Memorial area, out to Jersey Village, out to Waller, to Sugar Land, Richmond, Rosenberg, Missouri City, Conroe to Magnolia, out to Dobbin and Navasota, out to Brenham, Industry, New Ulm, Cat Spring, Columbus, College Station. That's where it is more likely we could see the heaviest rainfall. But again, this is a computer model, not set in stone. We could still see some pockets of that really heavy stuff even to the east of I-45. Another great question. Tim, anything else?
Will tomorrow morning's commute be okay?
I think tomorrow morning's commute will be okay. If we're going to see any rain tomorrow morning, I think just a sprinkle or two. It's really after lunchtime and going into the evening commute. That's when I expect the rain to come down at its heaviest, and that's when I think we'll have the greatest road impacts for the evening commute and into the evening hours. All right, we'll leave it there for the moment with questions. Good questions, keep chiming them in. So that's the rain part of this week with that upper level low coming in. Then we're going to get cold. This is a very active and interesting week of weather. So here we are going into Thursday. And actually this cold front right here is going to arrive Wednesday evening. But it will be driven south by a very active upper level jet that's taking a significant dip down into the middle of the country. That's going to drive this cold front through here Wednesday evening and open the door to some very cold air. So these are forecast temperatures going into Thursday and Friday. And by Friday morning, 7:30, this is the American model. The GFS has us down to 27 degrees Friday morning. So a freeze is expected Friday morning, and I think also likely Saturday morning as well. We'll begin to get cold Wednesday night into Thursday morning, so Thursday is going to be cold as well. I'll show you the extended in a second, but the coldest mornings, the freezes, are Friday morning and also Saturday morning. And look at the lows forecast for Dallas, down to 14 degrees, 2 below in Dodge City. It's not nearly as cold as last February with that big Arctic freeze we had, not nearly as cold, But this is cold, and cold all the way down, forecasting in the Valley of Texas, Brownsville, down to 36 degrees. So most of Texas is about to get a couple of days of freezing weather, at least overnight, going into Friday morning and Saturday morning in the 8 below in Minneapolis. And it's a sprawling area of Arctic air coming all the way down, encompassing most of the lower 48. What about snow? So this is going to create a large swath of snow from the Rocky Mountains across the Great Plains up into Chicago and the Great Lakes. This is what the weather map is depicted to look like at 7:30 in the evening this coming Wednesday. With the cold air already in place here, dumping quite a bit of snow on the plains. We're getting rain, we got the front coming in. Going into Thursday, this is Thursday mid-morning into noon on Thursday, not only is it getting cold, but cold enough to perhaps see rain mixing with sleet or freezing rain, Dallas to Waco to Austin. Do you have travel plans to Central Texas on Thursday? They are likely to be impacted, especially the I-35 corridor and I-45, getting north of the Huntsville area. You could see significant pockets of at least some areas, some bridges that had some icy spots on them, especially getting up toward Corsicana and up to Dallas. Further north you get, the more likely it is to see a little bit of ice on the bridges. So Texas will be impacted by winter weather on Thursday, and this is snow. San Angelo to Abilene to Lubbock, the I-20 corridor, east-west, west of Dallas in particular, all the way out to Abilene, could be impacted by snowy travel on Thursday. Now, what about here in Houston, southeast Texas? It is most likely to be just cold rain for us on Thursday, but it is not out of the question that places like Columbus to Brenham to Navasota to College Station, certainly Madisonville, up to just near Lufkin, this area right up in here, you could see a little light frozen mix, sort of like what we saw last week, nothing too significant, but that's where the little frozen mix will start. But I think if you are traveling to Central Texas going into Thursday, and this is during the day on Thursday, it is that I-35 corridor, I-45 north of Huntsville, I-20 west of Dallas, and then I-10 west of San Antonio that will be impacted by winter weather in one way or another on Thursday. So a very busy week of weather across the state of Texas and Houston this week. Okay, so here's tomorrow. Here's Monday. Only a slight chance for a few little sprinkles in the morning, 60% rain chance by noon, 100% chance for rain, some thunderstorms by 5 o'clock. And Tim, I see you looking my way.
Yeah, a question about tomorrow's forecast. Will the rain be nonstop heavy or will it be more intermittent?
I think a lot of nonstop light to moderate. I think a lot of that, a lot of light to moderate with embedded pockets of heavy. And from time to time, and Tim, you and I have been looking at this, from time to time, those heavy pockets may just sit in one spot or train over the same area. At times, these storms may be very slow movers. And so it is a concern that we could see some of that heavy rain totals, 2, 3, 4 inches, and that could cause that street flooding that could cause a big nuisance for your traveling tomorrow, especially after lunchtime and especially going into 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 o'clock.
And then jumping to that next system, Wednesday into Thursday, a lot of comments about, will it be this type of cold that we have to be concerned about pipes?
Yeah, that's the right question. Let me just go back to the temperature map. So the answer is most likely no, but 27 is getting borderline, and that's for Bush-Utter Continental Airport. That's where that forecast number is for, that exact spot. So it wouldn't surprise me if this forecast does verify that as you get up in toward maybe the Woodlands, but certainly Conroe to Huntsville, Livingston to Navasota, Brenham, you guys could see temperatures, if that verifies, down into the low 20s, maybe even upper teens. Madisonville, Huntsville, so that is the right question. Yeah, those temperatures start getting down the low 20s, upper teens, then you start definitely wrapping irrigation pipes, and you want to make sure you've got the heat on in your house, because if you don't have insulated pipes, those could be at risk. So that's a very good question, and we may actually be, especially north of Spring Creek, north of Harris County, we may have a situation where we do have to protect the pipes for sure going into Friday morning and Saturday morning. It's a great question.
How long does the cold stick around?
So I think it sticks around. Well, let's look at the extended. I have the answer to that. Here's the snow. There's the possibility of some sleet. I don't take this seriously if you're traveling. That could be a real travel mess for Central Texas going into Thursday. And then, of course, tomorrow we get the rain, especially noon into the afternoon. And then the extended forecast. So how long does this cold stick around? So the cold arrives Wednesday night, which means that Thursday is an upside-down day. We start out at 42 at around sunrise, and then by the afternoon we're down into the 30s as the temperature drops through the day. So the high temperature comes in the morning. And we think we've got a good chance for that cold rain on Thursday. This is the day when central Texas gets the sleet and snow. And then freezing weather arrives Friday morning. We think that may be our coldest morning at 28. We do rebound to 45. Remember, during the February freeze last year, we just didn't get above freezing a couple of those days. So we get well above freezing. So that helps to reduce the threat for pipes. Saturday, we get a freeze, and then temps begin to rebound back to 50 by Saturday afternoon, above freezing Sunday morning and 55 Sunday afternoon. So it's really 2 days. Well, it starts getting cold Thursday, freeze Friday, Saturday morning, so 2 or 3 days depending on how you measure it, with freezes Friday and Saturday morning, and then we begin to moderate our temperatures going in to Sunday. So for a couple of days it gets really cold.
On Monday, will the wind be bad?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, this is all upper level. That's why this is kind of a weird setup, because this is all upper levels. There's not a surface cold front. Normally, if you told me we were going to have heavy thunderstorms, I would say, of course, wind is going to be a threat as the system approaches and goes through. But because this is all mid and upper level, there's your swirl, there's the center of it up toward Dallas. It's all way up top. Down here at the surface, the only real wind threat we'd have is if we had a really heavy downpour and it caused a little bit of a downburst. But overall, no, we're not expecting a windy day on Monday. Good question. Anything else?
What was the temperature last year when there was a lot of pipes bursting?
Oh, sure. So I think our coldest morning was 8 degrees. That was 8 degrees was Conroe. I believe 12 was the coldest morning we had at Bush Continental Airport. And then we did not get above freezing. So it was, way, way colder back in February than what we're forecasting here. So we're not expecting any type of big power issues across the state of Texas. This is the type of a cold snap that we get once or twice a winter in Texas. So this is not out of the ordinary. Shouldn't be a problem, just looking at it on the surface.
Julio is traveling from Houston to Waco on Thursday. Will it be safe?
You're going to be borderline. When you get up toward Waco, be very careful. That's when you could see, that's where you start getting into the possibility of a few bridges getting a little icy. So he's going to Waco. So here we go. So that's that I-35 corridor. Depending on how you're traveling, I'd go up I-45 and cut across if I was going to go to Waco, and be advised, yes, as you get into lunchtime and into the afternoon, you could be impacted by some of that sleet and freezing rain in Waco on Thursday, yes.
Okay.
All right. Hey, thanks for joining us. So that's the way we stand right now. There are a lot of moving parts to tomorrow and this entire week of weather. So Tim and I will stick around, and we'll be live on the TV side at 10 o'clock. The models are going to update. We'll walk you through the timeline once again at 10 o'clock. We'll tuck you into bed, and then join us tomorrow morning. We're on the air at 4:30 tracking the storm as it begins to brew in central Texas and comes our way. So we'll see you for our next live update on the TV side at 10.